Hello photography fans, and welcome to another episode about classic cameras and classic photo gear. Today we're going to be discussing another cool classic camera. Today we're going to be talking about Kodak Vest Pocket Autographic 127 film camera. Alright, let's take a closer look at it. Okay, so here it is. This is a Kodak Vest Pocket Autographic camera that takes 127 film. As you can see, it's about the size of smartphone, maybe a little bit thicker than a smartphone. And as the name suggests, the idea was to carry this thing in your vest pocket. Why not coat pocket, you asked? Well, because contemporary coat pockets were 3 times the size, so it was more fit to carry Kodak 3A postcard camera than this little baby. Anyways, let's take a closer look at the lens before I open this up. So not much info on the lens. I cannot read much of it, but the shutter has 3 speeds, or 2 rather. 25th of a second, 50th of a second, T and B. B standing for bulb, T standing for time. And it has 3 aperture selection, 8, 13, and 32. What I found interesting is the date on it. It says January 1910 and January 7th, 1913 for patent dates on the shutter. And as you would imagine, those days everything was beautifully ornate, even the Eastman Kodak initials. That was really classy. So let's get it opened. So what you do is, to open it, you basically grab the 2 knurled points, one here and one on the other side, and you pull the camera out. Now, when I got this camera, I didn't get it so I could use it. The reason I got it is because it came with a roll of film already exposed. So I'm thinking, maybe, just maybe, there are some images on it that will have some kind of historical value. I'll get to that later. But anyways, the bells on this camera are shut. Okay, they're leaking light like crazy. They're dry. Okay, and they're pretty much useless. I could replace these bellows, but it's just not worth it. The price I would have to pay for the bellows is more than this thing is worth. Plus, you can get one of these with good bellows for much less than the new bellows would cost. But anyways, this is what it looks like when it's opened up. Okay. As you can see, it's still fairly small camera. It has struts on both sides. This is just to keep this thing in parallel with the back, with a film plane. Let's talk about shutter and let's talk about the aperture. So you have, let me zoom this in. So in order to select the shutter speed, you have this little pointer here that you push around, okay, to select different speeds. And and mine proves to be rather difficult to move around due to the age. And on the bottom you have another pointer, and you push that to change the aperture. Okay. Aperture, like I mentioned, goes between f8 and f32. Now in order to take a picture, or in order to activate the shutter, you have this little prong here, a little tab that you push down. And you can hear the shutter click. Right next to it, right here, is what's called Brilliant Finder. And that's just basically a lens and a mirror at 45-degree angle. And on the front, there's a little viewfinder or another lens. So you basically look down in it and you can see the proximate area of the image that you're gonna take. Handy feature, better than guessing. Alright, let's talk about autographic function. What is autographic? Back in its days, the autographic was a function that would allow the photographer to take a picture and then put a small note on the same negative of what the picture was. Let's say you take a picture of your friend and you say Jenny. So what the photographer would do, he would take a picture, he would open this tab here, and he would have a stylus, which was steel pen. There was no ink in it, it was just steel rod, sharpened steel rod. And what he would do, he would write in this little window of what the picture was, and then they would expose it to the sun. The image would transfer to the negative. Okay, that function, the autographic idea, was an invention of gentleman that invented safety razor. I believe his name was Henry Jacques Geisman. I think it was Geisman. And Kodak bought the patent for $300,000. That's a lot of dough if you ask me. And Kodak produced their autographic cameras between 1914 and 1932 when the idea was dropped because there was no interest in it, or maybe the film was more expensive. I don't know. The idea was dropped. They stopped manufacturing these cameras. But from our perspective, or at least from mine, this is really, really cool function. So let's open this up and see how you load the film in this beautiful camera. Down on the bottom you have a little button here, and it says lock and open. So what you do, you just push this button to open, and the bottom comes up. Okay. And what does it look like? It looks like Zorky way of loading film. Pain in the culo. Well, you put your one reel here, and you put your other reel over here, or your take-up reel. Film, of course, is wind on both reels, and you just slide it in there. Imagine me sliding that film in there. Okay? And when you're done, put this back on. Align the pins and press this to lock, and then you can take a picture. Alright, here's a little window that you aligned your numbers to, and here's your autographic portion. Of course, many of these cameras come without the stylus. The stylus either is lost or misplaced. Here's where the stylus would fit. Tiny baby pen, very beautifully ornate, and it's just amazing how they did things back then. Now on the bottom of this camera there's a little kickstand. You pull that out and you can put it down like this. It stands by itself for display purposes, or if you don't, if that's one purpose, and the other purpose if you want to put on something solid and take a picture. Anyways, like unlike most of my videos where I show the results from this camera, I'm not going to show results from this camera because I have not shot with it. It's not shootable in condition it is now. So there's the next best thing I'm going to do. It did come with a roll of film, like I mentioned. It was a mystery roll. No information on it except for tiny print that says Ansco. Ansco was a photo company before they merged with Agfa. So the film was in there exposed, wrapped in its original tape, and everything was dandy. I couldn't find developing times for it anywhere. Fine folks at photo.net helped me up a bit, and I did my own research, and I decided to go with Rodinal as a developer, 10 minutes at 68 degrees. And I cooked the film. Turns out that there were only 2 negatives that were present, or 2 images that were present on the roll. The rest of the roll is just gone. We all assumed that the film was from 1960s or earlier. I don't know, it was very, very crunchy when I tried to put it on the developing reel. So I don't know what year that film was produced. Images that were present on the film, one shows a tree and some hills, and I'm yet to scan it. And the other one is blurry. Yay for blurry images. Rest of the roll is gone. Guess where these 2 images were on the roll? They were all the way at the core. So they were wrapped tightly at the core, and maybe that's why they didn't disintegrate. The rest of the images could have disintegrated or could have never been shot. I don't know. Why didn't you look at the edges of the film to see what the film was? I'm sorry, what? Yes, that's right. Back then they didn't put numbers on the edges of the film, apparently. So they're not there. I am happy with what I got. I am not going to complain, and I think that's great that I got at least few images out of the roll. So I'll post those at the end, at least one of them, for your enjoyment. Anyways, I did give this camera a little cleaning. I cleaned the lens. It was dirty, it had some brown deposit in there. And now it's time to close it. You basically push it down. Okay, and it came in this really, really heavy duty leather case. This thing can hold a gun, if you ask me. Just slide it in there. Goodbye, camera. Goodbye. And this camera will probably never see daylight again. I'll keep it in my bag. I did mention that I don't buy cameras that I can shoot with. I kind of hoped that it would be shootable. Turns out it's not. But just for the roll of exposed film, it was worth it. So guys, that's it. That's the overview. And if you have any questions, let me know. So photography fans, I hope you enjoyed this overview of Kodak Vest Pocket Autographic camera. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy these videos. If you don't, then you don't have to subscribe, but you don't have to subscribe at all. I'm actually getting up there in numbers, and I have 182 subscribers at this particular moment. Subscribe. I need 183. If you have any questions, post comments, write emails. That's it. And until next time, make sure you keep shooting film, keep that film alive.